I'm Jason UFC, and today we have a story about the UFC middleweight division. Derek Brunson versus Dricus Du Plessis booked for UFC 285 here in Las Vegas. Derek Brunson is set to return to the octagon at UFC 285 on March 4th against Dricus Du Plessis. The event is expected to take place at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Derek Brunson, currently 23-8 in his MMA career, is coming off of a second-round knockout loss to Jared Cannonier at UFC 271 in February of 2022. He was then booked to face Jack Hermanson at UFC Orlando, but an injury forced him to pull out of the fight. Prior to Brunson's second round, what was it, a knockout? Was it a KO? Second round loss to Cannonier. Derek Brunson was on a 5-fight winning streak. During the win streak, he defeated Till, Holland, Edmund, Ian, and Elias Theodoro. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Derek Brunson is currently ranked 5th at the middleweight division, even though his last fight was in February of this year and he lost in the second round, got knocked out, and recently walked back on retirement talk. He did say something about retirement. He says he plans on 4. We're not even gonna get over that. Let's get into Dricus Du Plessis. Meanwhile, Dricus Du Plessis is currently 18-2 in his MMA career, 4-0 in the UFC. His last time out, he picked up a big victory over a third-round submission victory over Darren Till. I can't say it's the biggest win of his career. I mean, it says he was a champion before, right? I mean, come on, what are we talking about? The South African is currently ranked number 10 at the UFC middleweight rankings. He also has a decision victory over Brad Tavares and knockout wins over Trevin Giles and Marcus Perez. Before signing with the UFC, Dricus Du Plessis fought in EFC and KSW and was the KSW welterweight champion. How about that? Okay, and that's why I didn't want to say it was the biggest win of his career, beating Darren Till. It's a good win, but I mean, he was a champion before. What are we talking about? But yeah, this is a very, very interesting fight for the UFC middleweight division. As we all know, the middleweight division has recently crowned a new middleweight undisputed champion. Alex Pereira defeated Israel Adesanya, so it definitely opens up the entire division. Israel Adesanya does have a victory over Derek Brunson. I believe that was before he was a champion. I don't think that was a championship fight, but I believe it was before he was a champion. So, it was going to take a lot of victories for Derek Brunson to get a rematch. So with Israel Adesanya losing to Alex Pereira, the entire division's open for everybody. But obviously, this is not an easy fight for Derek Brunson, coming off of a second-round KO loss, right? And that fight happened in February of this year, so he took off. I wouldn't say he took off, but, he wasn't active. He said something about 4 fights. I didn't even want to quote that. Something about 4 fights in 2023. Retirement, one statement, one sentence, the next sentence is, I want to fight 4 times in 2023. I mean, who knows what's going on. But, this is a good way to start his 2023, a win over Dricus Du Plessis, who's currently ranked in the top 10 in the UFC middleweight division. A big, shiny victory for Dricus Du Plessis over Darren Till in the middleweight division. Definitely rises his stock. So if Derek Brunson could stop Dricus Du Plessis, this is a good victory for him, coming off of a KO loss to Jared Cannonier. Keeps him in the top 5 of the division. Now, obviously, if Dricus Du Plessis is still on what he's on, that 4-fight win streak, 4-0 in the UFC, if he goes in there and stops blonde Derek Brunson, he's going to signal he's a serious problem for the rest of the division for the rest of the UFC middleweight division in 2023. But let me know, who do you have in this fight? I'm gonna jump on the bandwagon. I gotta say I'm rooting for Dricus Du Plessis in this fight. I'm just jumping on the bandwagon. I'm not gonna lie. Let me know your opinion of this fight. Who do you favor in this fight? I'm Jason, UFC. Today we had a story about the UFC middleweight division. Brunson versus Dricus Du Plessis booked for UFC 285 here in Las Vegas. I do want to mention that I do not believe there's a main event set for that card. I think I saw Bo Nickel, right? Let's go all the way down. If Bo Nickel's on this card, I'm really hoping he's not making his UFC debut on the pay-per-view. I would imagine he probably would be, but I mean, come on, what are we talking about? But yeah, there's no main event set for UFC 285 in March of next year. So, but the Derek Brunson versus Dricus Du Plessis will clearly be co-main event, or on, maybe not even co-main event, but it definitely will be on the pay-per-view part of the UFC 285 lineup. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the $1 donation button, and please tune in to the next video on this channel. Thanks a million for watching.